In an age where the fate of England teetered on the whims of King Henry VIII, the realm bore witness to a spectacle of power, ambition, and intrigue. It was a time of stark contrasts, of opulent splendour amidst the peasantry's squalor, devout piety shadowed by the corruption within the church, and enlightened discovery darkened by the spectre of the executioner's axe. It was against this vibrant and volatile backdrop that the life of Mary Arundel, a noble woman destined to navigate the complex currents of the Tudor court, unfolded. Born into the esteemed Arundel family of Lanherne in Cornwall, Mary's heritage was steeped in loyalty and service to the crown. Yet in a court where a king's favour could elevate a family to unprecedented heights or doom it to obscurity, her noble blood was both her greatest asset and her most dangerous liability. As England stood on the brink of religious and political upheaval, Mary's journey from the rugged cliffs of Cornwall to the gilded halls of the royal court began. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and also give the video a thumbs up. This really helps our channel grow. And finally, don't forget to hit the bell and select all notifications so you never miss one of our videos. And so with that said, let's begin today's story. The Arundel estate, nestled in the heart of Cornwall, was a fortress of tradition and legacy. Here, amidst the wild beauty of the land, Mary Arundel's story began. The only child of Sir John Arundel, who passed away in 1545. Sir John was the descendant and heir of Sir Thomas Arundel, born around 1452 and deceased by 1485. Sir Thomas had supported Henry Tudor's claim to the English throne following the latter's victory over King Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485. Mary was born into a world where lineage dictated one's place in the societal hierarchy. Her early years at Lanherne were marked by a rigorous education, encompassing the domestic arts expected of noble women and the study of literature, history, and the rudiments of governance and diplomacy. Under the watchful eyes of her tutors, Mary emerged as a young woman of exceptional intellect and grace. Her days were filled with lessons that ranged from the intricacies of courtly dance to the strategic moves of chess, each skill carefully chosen to prepare her for the future that awaited her at the royal court. Yet it was in the quiet moments spent in the estate's vast library, poring over volumes of poetry and philosophy, that Mary cherished most. These books were windows to a world beyond Cornwall, sparking a thirst for knowledge that would become one of her defining traits. As Mary grew, so too did her awareness of her noble birth's responsibilities. The Arundel family's legacy was one of unwavering loyalty to the crown, which Mary was destined to uphold. Her father's tales of bravery and her mother's lessons in grace sculpted her into a living embodiment of her family's ideals, yet whispers of her impending role at court cast shadows on her sunlit world. The court of Henry VIII was a place of unparalleled magnificence and mortal peril, where fortunes were made and unmade in the king's favour. The news of Mary's summons to serve as a gentlewoman to the Queen marked the end of her childhood. As she prepared to leave Lanherne behind, Mary faced the daunting prospect of entering the royal court, a realm where her intellect and lineage were both her shield and her target. Amidst the excitement and trepidation, Mary Arundel stood on the cusp of a new chapter that would not only lead her into the heart of Tudor England's grandeur, but also its darkest intrigues. Prior to joining the royal court, it is believed that Mary Arundel's half-brother, Sir Thomas Arundel of Wardour Castle, orchestrated her initial marriage to Robert Radcliffe, the first Earl of Sussex, in 1535. It was then the following year that Mary eventually came to court, where she served under at least two of Henry VIII's queens, Jane Seymour and Anne of Cleves, as well as his daughter, the future Queen Mary. Her days were a whirlwind of duties, from the intimate tasks of attending to the Queen's personal needs to the grandeur of organising court festivities. Mary quickly adapted to the shifting sands of favour and rivalry that defined the courtly life. Her relationship with the queen she served was complex, a blend of mentorship and subservience. Mary's keen intellect and gentle demeanour endeared her to them, and she often found herself as a confidant in personal and political matters. However, her service to Princess Mary would define much of her time at court. In the Princess, Mary Arundel found a kindred spirit, a woman of deep conviction and intellect, bound by their birth and station constraints. The Tudor court was a labyrinth of intrigue where alliances were forged and broken with whispered words. Mary quickly learned that every gesture and glance held meaning, and she became adept at reading the undercurrents of tension that flowed beneath the surface of courtly pleasantries. She witnessed the rise and fall of courtiers, the king's mercurial affections, the scary dance of favour and disfavour. Amidst this tumult, Mary's education and wit became her most significant allies. She engaged in discussions on literature and philosophy, earning the respect of many at court. However, her achievements were not without envy, and she found herself the subject of whispered slander. Yet Mary navigated these trials with dignity, her loyalty to the crown and her charges unwavering in the face of adversity. Yet her life was full of sorrow when her husband died, Robert Ratcliffe, in Chelsea on November the 28th, 1542. He was laid to rest in Boreham, Essex. But just 3 years later, she remarried for a second time to Henry FitzAlan, an English nobleman who would hold a significant position at the royal court. The intellectual pursuits that had once been Mary's refuge became the source of her greatest trial. The translation of a collection of verses, a work of passion and intellect, was mistakenly attributed to her stepdaughter. This misattribution sparked a controversy that threatened to mar Mary's reputation and diminish her contribution to the court's cultural life. Mary faced this challenge with a blend of resilience and tact. The situation demanded the navigation of delicate family dynamics and the defense of her intellectual property and integrity. It was a testament to her character and standing in court that she managed to weather this storm, though not without personal cost. The incident left her wary of the visibility of intellectual recognition at the royal court. The latter years of Henry VIII's reign and Edward VI's succession brought about significant religious and political shifts. Mary navigated the treacherous waters of the Reformation, where her loyalty to the Tudor dynasty and her religious convictions often seemed at odds. The execution of Anne Boleyn, the fall of Thomas Cromwell, and the rise of religious reformers marked the era's volatility. Mary's trials were not only political but deeply personal. The death of Sir John Arundel, her father, and the shift in allegiances within her own family tested her resilience. Despite these challenges, she remained a pillar of strength, her loyalty to Princess Mary and her commitment to her family's legacy unwavering. Her fortitude during these times solidified her reputation as a woman of integrity and strength. The twilight years of Mary Arundel's life were marked not by the clamour of court politics, but by a reflective solitude that belied the storms she had weathered. Retreating from the public eye, Mary spent her remaining days in the countryside, far removed from the court's luxury and intrigue. Yet even in solitude, her influence permeated the lives of those she touched through the letters she penned, the counsel she offered, and the patronage she extended to the arts and education. Her home became a haven for scholars, artists, and thinkers, reflecting her lifelong commitment to fostering intellect and culture. Here, Mary compiled her writings, a collection of thoughts, reflections, and translations that served as a testament to her intellectual journey. Though the men of her era often overshadowed her contributions, her work laid the foundations for a more enlightened discourse within her circle and beyond. Mary's final years were also a time for reconciliation and reflection. She mended frayed family ties, ensuring her estate would be a beacon of learning and charity long after her passing. Her death, occurring quietly and without fanfare in 1557, was in a stark contrast to the life she had led, a life defined by the vibrancy and vitality of Tudor England. As the sun set on an era marked by unprecedented change and upheaval, the story of Mary Arundel, the Countess of Arundel, remains a whisper in the annals of history, a gentle reminder of the strength, intellect and grace of Tudor women, often hidden in the shadows of their male counterparts. Though punctuated by trials and tribulations, her life was a testament to the resilience and perseverance of a woman who navigated the complexities of her time with dignity and poise. Much like the verses she cherished, Mary's legacy speaks to the enduring power of intellect and integrity in a world often governed by might and ambition. It challenges us to look beyond the grand narratives of history to the quiet, steadfast contributions of individuals whose lives have woven the rich tapestry of our past. As we reflect on Mary Arundel's journey, we are left with a question that transcends time and place. How many other stories of quiet resilience and unsung contributions lie buried beneath the surface of history, waiting for their moment in the sun?